The folks, they're divided. They're divided because you got two African Americans that's for it. You got two African Americans, one that flew back in here from Washington just for this vote to vote it down.
Strong emotions boil over as Dallas city leaders debate renaming one street for anti-apartheid revolutionary Nelson Mandela. Opponents of the renaming plan made their voices heard, but it was Councilman Dwaine Caraway, the man pushing this plan, who really stole the show. He wants to rename a 6-mile stretch of Lancaster Boulevard, Nelson Mandela Boulevard. Along that portion of the street is the VA Medical Center and a VA Resources Center. Many business owners are opposed to the plan because they say it will be a financial hardship to change company stationery and advertising.
He's a giant on the world stage, but the world is not going to pay for all the expenses involved in changing the name of this street.
With all due respect to all the things that Mr. Mandela may have done, if you're going to change the name, let it be somebody that's American. Let it be somebody that served this country.
The real fireworks began shortly after public comments when Councilman Caraway started calling out fellow council members who he said had his back but were secretly meeting to oppose the plan. In the end, council voted to push the vote to a later meeting to allow council members time to talk with business owners and also with opponents.
All right, Heather, you've kind of set it up here. So live in studio is Councilman Dwaine Caraway. And as I walked out here, Councilman Caraway, you said, I got a scoop. I'm going to break some news tonight. So we'll back, if we need to, we'll back into it. But I want to know the scoop. Let's
back into the scoop. Let me first say our condolences to Channel 4 and to Max Morgan. We want to say that on behalf of the city of Dallas.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
We love him. We'll miss him. And we'll be praying for his family.
We appreciate your thoughts.
Now let's get to Nelson Mandela.
All right. So tell me what your scoop is, and then we'll fill in the hole.
Well, before we get to the scoop, let's talk about.
Okay, let's talk about it then. Okay, so in council meeting today, you were wanting to change Lancaster to Nelson Mandela. Heather outlined that, and then at some point you knew, because you came prepared.
Yes.
You came prepared today. You called it a backstabbing, and somehow you found out about it. You knew what was going to happen. You were not going to win this vote today, and I want to play kind of your reaction to that, sort of the opening salvo. This was to Tanell Atkins and Von Seal Jones Hill, who you say, is betrayal a too strong a word?
No, that's fine.
Oh, okay, so let's play some of that interview right now, or that whatever we're going to call it, a rant, your opinion, your passionate message. Here it is.
I will not denounce a name of Nelson Mandela, who fought apartheid, who went to jail for it, who's to the same level as a Malcolm X and a Martin Luther King, in my opinion. We came from Africa. Nelson Mandela is from Africa. Councilwoman Hill, you fight for direct flights all the time from DFW Airport to Africa. We want a direct flight. We want a direct flight from DFW to Africa. But then when the African opportunity comes, then you get into a shell. Tanell, you do the same thing. We all fight for it. Either we're going to stand up for what we're talking about and what we're telling people that we want and what we need, or we're going to continue to bullcorn the African American community.
Okay.
It's kind of passionate.
Yeah, and maybe more. Maybe stronger than passionate. First, let me ask you something. In the African, I just wonder about your method, and if it was in the African American community, if you come out and say, you know, you're not being black enough, basically.
Right.
Is that over the line? Well, because that's kind of what that felt like.
Well, when you look at it, people in District 4 represented and elected me to represent them, and I represent everyone. When you look at the area that we're speaking of, and you look at all the hard work, we talk about we're growing south. You're talking about bringing economic development. We're doing all of the construction and the redevelopment, the revitalization of the Lancaster corridor. You got to give people hope, and you got to give them hope so they'll buy into the change that is needed. And you look at the fact that I'm passionate about a name change, but the passion is not as great as the results that the change of that community and the name of that community will have the effect upon Dallas.
Were you too strong? You mimicked her speaking a little bit. Mock might be a better way. Do you wish you could take any of that back?
Not at all. Not at all. I'm more settled now. All right. And I'm glad that I'm here with you all tonight so folks can understand that when you're overrun with passion and then villains come in and derail progress, that's a problem. Because the progress is not about Dwaine. The progress is about our community, and not just Lancaster, the street. You have a community on the left side of Lancaster and a community on the right side. And we must protect and grow enthusiasm and bring hope to the entire area and not just one segment.
Let me talk about some of Von Seal-Jones' her points, I guess, and then we'll hear a little from her. She says that, and we heard from some citizens, to change all my business cards, all my, it'll cost a lot for businesses, and they're against it. Some of them, I didn't speak to all of them, but it'll cost businesses. VA Hospital is on that street, and a lot of veterans spoke. Wouldn't it be nice, since it's such a big street that the VA Hospital and a lot of VA buildings on, let's be clear about
Veterans Hospital. You have the Veterans Resource, in which those people were from the Veterans Resource. The Veterans Hospital, they're not weighing in on this battle. They are neutral and are for it. So it's a difference with the Veterans Hospital and the Veterans Resource Center. And those veterans were from the Resource Center, not the hospital. And when you talk about changing and letterhead,
they were veterans.
Well, they're veterans. No. Hey, everyone has an opinion. Okay. So we respect all the veterans and their opinions. However, when you look at the fact that how many street names have we changed? How many? Remember Riverfront and Industrial? Look at all the businesses on Riverfront and Industrial. Okay, they had the same plight that they had to do. And when you change a name, that's the part of it. It is, Steve, it's what happens and what is needed in a particular community that's going to change the game, bring the hope, bring the economic viability to that particular area. This is something that I feel very strongly about because I live it, I work it, and I deal with it every day.
Let's hear from the councilwoman what she said today.
Nelson Mandela is bigger than Martin Luther King Jr. He is bigger than Malcolm X. He is bigger than Lyndon Johnson. He is bigger than George Bush. He is bigger than Kay Bailey Hutchinson. We have named large places for presidents and our former senator. To name of just one road for this man who is such a large world figure is a disgrace to the man's legacy. We need to work together to find something big enough to honor Nelson Mandela and his legacy, and this proposal is not big enough. It's too small for Mandela.
Good speech. Speeches get you nowhere. Good proper talk ain't nothing but talk. Let's just keep it 100 and keep it real.
You need a talk show. Well, it was funny, but I think you have your opinion and she has hers. Does she have a point? Should it be something bigger? Is the street enough? Is that a red herring? You know, what is it?
Well, number one, we're heading off the council in June, so she has a short window to fulfill the promise that she made today to the people. Now, here's what we're going to do.
Are we getting the scoop here?
Here's what I think that we should do.
All right.
We just heard on this show from the veteran that said, "Name it after an American. Name it after someone who has served this country." You just heard Ms. Hill say that, hey, look, let's do something bigger. Now, when she called me at my office trying to talk me out of Lancaster, she suggested, well, the Trinity Parkway is what she wants to do because her relationship with TxDOT and all of this, and she's head of the Trinity. Here's what we should do, and this is what leaders do. Let's let her have the opportunity to name something bigger.
So you're going to back off?
Let's give her that room that she said publicly today. Von Seal, name something bigger, okay? Let's do that. let's make sure that we service the veterans and their concerns. They said an American. They said a veteran. Okay, let's do this even for Mr. Atkins. Let's take him all the way out of the equation. Let's not go to I-20. Let's just start it at Ledbetter and go back up to Illinois. Now you just have 2 council members, one with 85%, in which is my district, and 15% with Ms. Hill. Here's what we do. There are great people that we could have named many streets for and after. What I'm proposing to do, let's let them do that. Tomorrow, take my application off the table. Let's let Ms. Hill, and we'll hold her accountable to naming something bigger. Hope she does it. I doubt it. At the same token, let's change the name of Lancaster, because the same enthusiasm, the same purpose is still in place, trying to bring the vitality back to that community, clean it up, economic development, growing South. And let's name it after the legacy coach of Booker T. Washington High School, Coach Raymond E. Holly. That is what will be the new route, and that will be something that, one, will honor a veteran. Coach Holly was a veteran. 2, he's an American. 3, he's been dead for over 20 years, so he certainly qualifies. And then let's be supportive of Ms. Hill and her efforts to name something bigger. Remember, she wants the Trinity Parkway. You want a debate? That's a debate.
All right, we'll see what goes. I should add as a caveat that the veterans were saying, if you're going to change it, I think most of them like Lancaster. If you're going to change it, let's change it to a veteran. So that was not, let's change it. It was, if it's going to be changed, let's do it to it.
Remember, Coach Holly served.
Okay.
He's a veteran.
I'm with you.
That answers that.
All right, thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Conversation.
We get started tomorrow, and we'll keep going.
We'll see. All right,
thank you.